Hello, it's Crafty Carol again here with another little project for you for our week 11. I can't believe we are so close to Christmas. And I'm still not quite ready, but hey, that's another story. Today I wanted to show you this little box, and I'm making a slightly different version of it. I'd made these two as little table favours. The box itself is made in the same way for both of the ones I'm going to show you, and these just sit straight up and will sit on the table, and I've used the dies, the Tree Lots dies, which are sadly retired. There's two different sets of dies with that. One cuts out a tree and one cuts out a sort of outline tree, and sticking them together gives you a rather nice effect on it. And I've stuck a few extras on that one, although I think that looks a bit messy, so on this one I just stuck the two. But they're for my table favours. And then I thought I would like to make these as a little decoration for the Christmas tree. So I made this one. This is my decoration for the Christmas tree. I've put a little hanging bit on it, and I've used the Christmas tree die from the Twinkling Lights dies, which matches this lovely Christmas light set. Now, this is still current, they're still available as a last chance product, and the really good news is there's 60% off on the dies. So I would definitely have a look. If you're interested in these, then I definitely have a look at the moment. You can find the link to last chance products on my website on the front page. So before I get into showing you how to make that lovely little Christmas tree, let me show you these dies and the stamps. They're beautiful dies. This is the one I've used, the outline Christmas tree and the inner bit of the Christmas tree I've used for that. Then there's lots of little snowflakes, different types of cut out snowflakes, big snowflake that comes out with gorgeous designs on it. Smaller snowflake I've also used. What I've done is used the stamp which matches the die. I've stamped in Versamark and used the silver embossing powder and then cut it out with that die to make the top for the tree. You've got this little sort of curved line of lights or whatever, little hat, beautiful dies, Twinkling Lights dies, 60% off at the moment, so don't miss that bargain. And the Christmas lights set I think is also retiring, which is very sad. Can't remember if there's money off on this, but it is in the last chance product, so don't miss out if you're interested in these. Matches as well the gorgeous Lights Aglow specialty paper, which I haven't got because I'm not using it in the project, but I am using it in a project next week, so watch out for that. And again, 60% off that paper, which is beautiful. I'm going to stock up on it because it's just gorgeous. I've made a whole set of cards with it. Right, let us move on, talk about this project. So to make this, the idea for the box has come from a lovely German demonstrator friend of mine, Kirsten Wolf, and she made this little box and showed I've used her measurements to make the actual box and then just changed the front of it. So what do we need to make this box? Let me get rid of that little Christmas tree. I'm not going to use him today. So very simply, you actually just need a few bits of card. So I'm using soft succulent here because you can see what I'm doing a lot better than these ones, which I made in Evening Evergreen. I can't think of the colour for a minute, and it's more difficult to see the creases that I'm going to make in that. So I think it's easier for you to see on this. So I've got 3 pieces of soft succulent, to get the names right, and this piece here is to form the box itself, and this piece is 5 centimeters wide by 23.5 centimeters long. And then you need 2 other pieces to form the triangular pieces that are going to line the box. One is both of these pieces are 6 centimeters by 8 centimeters, and I'll show you how to put them together in a minute. So you also need one piece of about 10 centimeters by 6-7 centimeters to cut out your Christmas tree that's going to decorate the front. A tiny little bit of white just for if you want to do that decoration for the top of the tree, then you can do that. And I've used a little bit of the Elegant Trim, which I think is retired sadly, but I'm not sure actually. Oh, can't remember, I really ought to know. But it's gorgeous. It comes in a duo pack of silver and gold, and it's the Simply Elegant Trim. I can't remember if it's still current, but any twine you've got will do for that. I just wanted it to match the star on top of the tree. So, whoops, throwing things around now. So let's go through how we put this together. So the folds we are going to make. Now let's see if I can get this actually in view properly. There we go. So I've got my trimmer here. I'm going to move my cutting blade, that's this darker coloured one, right out of the way, because we're only going to use the scoring blade. And we're going to score this on the short side, so we've got 2 long scores at 1 centimetre. And the best way to do that, the beauty of our trimmers, is that we've got measurements both sides. So I can move that along to the 1 centimetre on this side, hold, make sure it's steady, make sure it's straight, and then just score down with my scoring tool. And I turn my piece round and do exactly the same thing again. So that is the first 2 scores you're going to make at 1 centimetre on each side. That did not look very straight. Let me do that again. There we go. Yes, it was straight. It just didn't look it. Okay, so the next thing we're going to do is we're going to score on the long side, and we're going to start off by scoring at 8 centimetres. You could make your trees bigger. I'll tell you how to adjust the measurements in a bit. Then I'm going to bring my long bar out because we're going to need it, because I'm going to move next to the 16 centimetres. Now 16 is a little bit awkward because it's actually right in the bend on the bar, but it is marked. You can see the 16, and it's actually right at the join, if you like, that the line, the join line, and that is 16. So we're going to score there as well. Then we're going to move it on to 21.5 and score a final time. So that is all the scoring that you actually need to do. Now the key with this box is to make sure you cut it correctly. So we're going to start off. You've got, let me fold and burnish the score lines, and then perhaps you can see it easier. So we've got the little one there. That's across the base of the box, and then the 2 sides of the box there. And then we want to just carefully, making sure we fold it properly, we're going to do the long sides as well. So one long side there and the other long side there. So that's those done. So there's all of our folds. Okay, this is the flap that closes the box. If we show you on this box here, this is the flap that pulls out, and that's so you can put sweets or whatever in there. So that's the folding in flap, if you like. So we're going to take off these 2 corners. So we're just going to cut down on the long crease and then cut out the corners with a bit of a V on it. Okay, and we do that both sides like that. For this next one, we just need a reasonable sized V, not a really thin one for once, and I'll show you why in a bit. And don't worry too much about this, because we can adjust these, and I'll show you how we look and adjust them in a minute. So we cut out a V there. I know I'll need to take a bit more out of that one. There we go. So a V there. Now this one, the best way to cut that is fold it, and then you want to cut from about 2 centimetres. You could make a mark if you want, 2 centimetres down, and so you're cutting a very, very long shallow V. That's because this is the top of the tree, and if we don't have a shallow V, it won't fit together. And let me just get rid of the bits. There's always bits everywhere. There we go. So that is cutting out all of the bits. Okay, so we've got our shallow V here, smaller one there, and taking out the end tabs. And we test it, because how it goes together is it folds like this. So we can test if these are coming together properly when we fold the base in. So the base is going to go inside the rest of the box, and that flap comes up. So hold it together and just check everything's right. So you can see my V here, that's together. I'm happy with that. That is fine. I've cut those at a decent angle, but can you see how I have not cut, because I forgot to, didn't cut the very end tab. So we do need to miter that as well. Just taking off a bit of a corner again. There we go. And then we can fold it together again. And there we have the box, which is fine. And there's no bits sticking out that I need to trim or do. And these join nicely there. So happy with that. The next stage is to put the tape on it. Now the tape needs to go on the outside because we're sticking the triangles to it to form the actual box itself. So do use tape for this. So how I'm doing it is I measure roughly the length of tape and tear off my piece. And then when I'm putting it on, you can see the score line. I want it right up against that score line. So I'm going to start at one side and just making sure it's literally just below that score line all the way along, because I want it to come right up to this tip here and make sure it's covering that tip. Okay, so can you see how it's right up to the score line but not over it? And then we'll have to trim it because of the angles that I've cut, so I can just turn it over to trim, and that's the first piece. So we're going to do that on all 4 of these pieces, and rather than you watch me do that, I've been really Blue Peter, because here's one I prepared earlier. Oh dear, I loved Blue Peter when I was small. Don't know about you, perhaps you're all too young to have watched it, but hey, it was wonderful. And they always had. Here's one I prepared earlier, so here we go. I've put the tape on these, and I've got some paper. Bits stuck to me. Put the tape on these and trimmed them down. Now you'll find that sometimes it's easy enough to trim that bit, but I would always, if you fold, you can trim them really easily. Just a little tip I discovered for myself. Right, so now it's about putting the box together. So for that we need our triangular pieces, and we're cutting these from the 6x8 pieces that we'd cut ready. So again, I'll get my board in and try and make sure you can see it properly. It's a bit difficult for me because I've got to sort of lean across to see it properly, but hopefully it's still in view for you. So this is 6 centimetres across, and we need to mark it at 3 centimetres. So I can check it's 3 centimetres there, 3 centimetres there. I'm just going to make a mark in the middle by using my pencil up the cutting track. So I can just make a mark, I know that's in the middle. So then to cut it, I'm going to angle so that the mark is against the cutting line and this corner is right against the cutting line as well. Now here's my biggest tip. I'm going to bring back in my cutting blade and I'm going to position it so that it's roughly over the middle of the card as I drop it down, because then I can cut both ways and cut off that triangle beautifully. If I tried to come up from the bottom, I'm likely to damage the bottom of that triangle. So then we do the other side the same. So we put the mark against the center and the corner against the track down here. So center mark against the track and the corner against the track. Bring the cutting blade up, drop it down in the middle, and then you can cut both ways and you have your beautiful triangle. So we're going to do that on both pieces. So again, just going to get that set up 3 centimetres each way and mark it in the middle, and then I can cut them again. And rather, well, now I can just do that. Hang on, there we go. So, see, I didn't bring my blade. There we go. Have my blade in the middle, and then I can cut. Turn it so it goes the other way, both corners into the track, blade in the middle, and cut. So there are my 2 triangles. Put that to one side. So now we're going to put this together. So I'm going to do one side at a time. So I'm going to take the tape off one side like that, and then I can place one triangle against the line and make sure it's, so see how I've got that against, whoops, that against there. Try and make sure it's straight. There we go. And I just like, oh, I'm actually going to do that again because no, I'm not, because it's already stuck down. I've actually got it sticking out a little bit at the bottom, which I don't really want. And then I can bring the other side in and stick it down again level. This is a little bit tricky, I'm not going to lie. I've fiddled with doing this several ways. It does help if I actually put it down on the desk, because I was trying to do it holding it up for you to see, but I can't do it that way. And you'll see these triangles just overlaps a little bit on each side, but I've made that overlap too much on the bottom. So all I'm going to do very simply for this is trim it off. There we go. Not that it matters, because my Christmas tree is going to stick out there anyway. So we can test that that's all looking good by tucking our flap in. How it will. Yep, that's all looking fine. Then we can do the other side. For this final one, I actually like to form the box, because then I know it's going to be in the right place. So I form the box and just fold the tree down onto it. So there we have our box. So you can, if you wanted, just decorate it with one of these and make it a table favour, put some ribbon around it or whatever. And I've just remembered the bit I've forgotten to do, which was really stupid, to put the holes through. So that's going to be awkward now. Am I going to... What if I can do it without squeezing the box too much? Because what I should have done before we got any further was put the holes in for the ribbon. I'm going to have to do it afterwards now. The good news about this is that it means I will get them roughly even. Both sides. There we go. That wasn't too bad. It hasn't destroyed the box too much, because we only want that right at the top. I don't want it further down, because I want to have room to put my sweets in for people. Phew, that worked all right. You are much better to do that before you start. And then the final adjustment on the box is, when this is shut, it can be a little bit difficult to open. And this was a trick I got from Kirsten's video. She actually put a little thumb, my nails can pull in and pull that out. But people who haven't got nails, like my husband, would find that difficult. So she just used a little punch. So I'm folding the top in, folding the tab in, and then I'm going to punch through both layers just to provide a little thumb grab like that. Ooh, that's shot across the room. I shall pick it up later. So now I've got a little thumb hole, which will make the box easier to open. So there is the box. The next stage, go in, there we go. And that, you can see, it fits beautifully, it fits snugly, so it's not going to fall out. Which is obviously, if you don't put anything too heavy in it, because it might fall out if we're hanging it on the tree, but they do fit so snugly, it should be fine. So I am going to just put my tie through before we start decorating the box. And then what I can do is slide that knot. I'm going to use my pokey tool and just slide that knot into the box so it hides the knot. So it's just a bit fiddly, but I found this was the best way to do it, rather than try and tie it and leave the knot inside. You could probably put this on before you make the box together, but I don't know. It's a bit fiddly to do this bit, but it works. So pushing that bit in there, get the ends in as well. There we go. And there I have my box ready to hang on my tree without the knot actually showing. So to finish off the box, as I say, I've cut out this tree decoration, and this is why these aren't any good, by the way, for a table favour. Well, not, you suppose you could still stand them up. Yeah, they will still stand up, but because it comes over the bottom of the box, because it's got a curved bottom, it does still stand up, so you could still use them as table favours if you preferred, but I've done these to stick on the tree. So we're just going to stick this on the front like that, and the best way to do that is to use the glue on the front of the box. You don't need too much, just enough to hold it on. But put the glue on the box, not on the tree, and then you can position the tree so that it's exactly around the box. That's just where I want it. Now I can press it down, and it's glued itself to the box nicely. So there we have it. Yeah, again, it will stand up if you want to use it as a table favour. And I thought, oh, that's really nice, but I need to make the box look beautiful. So the first thing I did, as I said, I stamped the stamp from the Christmas lights set, and I embossed it in silver. And I've used that as like a star on the top of the tree. So I can put some glue on the knobble at the top of the tree, and then I can stick my star on top. Just like that. There we go. Check it looks central at the back, because that'll worry me, my OCD. There we go. So now, how did I get the little dots on it? Well, I have used these glorious things, which are the pearlized enamel effects, and there's 3 different colours. There's basic white, and there is one that says it's black, and this one that is red, real red. But as you can see, the black is much nearer silver than anything else in my view. I think that's much more silver than anything. So I'm going to use those. Oh, I didn't mention as well, I actually did put this decoration around. I used some of the lovely iridescent trim. This is also retiring, but still available at the moment as a, I think this is 60% off as well. So again, worth looking at. And all I've done here is I've run a line of tear and tape around the box, cut it off round here, because obviously if you put it all around the box, you can't open the box. So that just adds a little bit more Christmassy bling. We like Christmas bling, at least I do. So that adds a bit of Christmas bling to that. So that's all I did for just putting something around here. You could decorate the back as well, of course, if you want. I've decided not to. But let me show you these lovely pearlised effects. And they come in the bottle, so we can shake them, make sure they're working okay. I'm not sure if you're supposed to shake them or not, but I do. And they've got a little tiny nozzle, so you can see that. And you just basically lift, point and press. So some of these holes seem to go right, well, will look as though they're going right through, and they are, but the pearlised effects just sit on top of them, so it's not a worry. So I've used this white pearlised effect just to put little lights all along the little row of lights. Anyway, I'll finish that later because it's going to take forever and I'm making a bit of a mess, going a bit too fast. So rather than waste your time watching that, just look at the one I've made earlier, which has now dried, so I can actually touch that and lift it up. So that is my little box. You can put little chocolate treats, little coins, or whatever you want in there. It'll fit it'll fit 3 or 4 Quality Street. I know because I tried, depending on which ones you use. And the little hanger means you can hang it on the tree, and it'll be beautiful for everybody. So I hope you've enjoyed that demonstration. I hope you have a go at this box. Thanks again to Kirsten Wolf for giving me the idea for it, and let me see what you do, and I will see you next week for the final video, which actually might well be 2 videos because I'm going to make some crackers and a cracker box. So if you want the full instructions for this, go to my website craftycarolscards.co.uk, and you'll find the full instructions in my blog. And please subscribe to me on YouTube, and let me know if there's anything special you want me to make, and let me know what you think about some YouTube lives coming up. Thanks very much for joining me today. I'll see you again soon. Bye for now.